can I give you a policy number? It's a legal and general one, so it's one of yours. I push for more answers, but Ian tells me I have to speak to their press department, and he transfers me to PR manager Alison Bocott.
Good afternoon, Alison Bocott.
Alison, hi, it's Dominic Littlewood.
Hi, Dominic.
Hi. I tell Alison a bit about the case. He doesn't really know where he stands as far as being with either Legal and General or with Nationwide. He doesn't even know when his policy started. Is that something you could tell me when the policy started?
I could find out, yeah.
Alison needs to go off and do some fact-finding, so I'm going to have to wait a little longer. I'll give you a call back in about 20 minutes, Alison.
Okay.
Lovely talking to you.
Dominic. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Always helps when you're dealing with somebody who is polite, quite responsive, quite receptive as well. She took note of everything. She's given me her email address, got a direct dial number. Now, what I really, really want to find out now is when that policy started. She said it'd take about 20 minutes. The fact is, once I have a start date, I can do some research to find out once and for all exactly what the policy covered at the time. OK, the 20 minutes are up.
Hello?
Oh, hi, Alison.
It actually started on the 19th of March 2008.
Thanks ever so much, Alison. Goodbye. Just what I wanted. I've got a start date there of the 19th of March 2008. Now I've got that, at least I know now what I've got to start looking into, and that is exactly what the policy covered at that time. I feel like this is really starting to go somewhere now. Coming up, I turn back time to try and help Craig and Tracy. So can I have a look at the same company now for March 2008, please? We've hit the high street to find out if you're clued up on your consumer rights, because knowledge is power. But do you have it? Well, let's put you to the test. First up, fallen fruit.
Your neighbour's apples tree overhangs your garden. In the summer, some of the apples fall onto your lawn. Can you eat them?
Of course I can. I'd say you can, because when they're off the tree, therefore they don't belong to the neighbour anymore.
Yeah, because it's your property, and if it overhangs into your garden, then
you
it's
could ask
technically
them
your space, which
and you could have asked them to cut it down, and you didn't. You were nice, and like if they were a nice neighbour, they should let you share their apples.
You can't eat it because it's in your space.
That's right. If you borrowed more than £75, the pawnbroker can sell the goods to recover the debt you owe. If you can't pay by the deadline, the pawnbroker may keep or sell the item. Finally, a cleaning question.
You've had your suit specially dry cleaned. The dry cleaners hire a courier to return it to you, but the courier rips it. Who is liable?
Obviously, the dry cleaner, they're actually responsible for any sort of damage.
I'm going for the courier being liable.
The dry cleaner, obviously. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, because
the dry,
even though it's not their fault, they employ the courier. Is that right? We've got one right!
See, we are really like secretly smart.
Go on, Bennett girls, calm down. The dry cleaning company is legally responsible if the courier company causes any damage. It's up to them to make sure they get the clothes to you safely and in good nick. Right, not bad you lot, but there's always room for improvement. Trust me, know your rights and you won't get done. I'm trying to help Craig and Tracy Marshall claim £15,000 of critical illness cover for their 5-year-old son Jack, who was diagnosed with a life-threatening brain tumour in 2009. They're caught between two financial giants, Nationwide Life, the company they signed their policy with, and Legal and General, the company that bought Nationwide Life in 2008. Both are refusing to pay up because they say Jack isn't covered on his parents' policy. It all boils down to terms and conditions, but I've made my first move. I've spoken to Legal and General and got the exact start date of Craig's policy, March 2008. Now what I need to do is to find out whether at that time Nationwide were including children on their policies, and to do that I've got to go way back in time. No, not that far. I only need to go back to 2008. And I've come to meet internet expert Mark Middleton, who knows a nifty non-profit research tool which allows us to go back in time on the internet. What can you find me on there?
Well, this is the Wayback Machine. It's run by the Internet Archive, and they sample the whole of the web, or as much of it as they can, every couple of months. So what you can find on here is a lot of historical web pages that might not be there anymore. You don't have to ask permission, you don't have to pay a cent.
And presumably, if something's there and it comes up, you hit print and you've got it.
That's right.
This could be just what I need. What I need to look at now are the terms and conditions for Nationwide, and in particular, critical illness cover between December 2007 and March 2008.
Right, okay, so the best way to start is to type in the home page address into the Wayback Machine, and start from the very top and browse through that historical version of the site on the dates that you're interested in.
Sounds simple enough. We start by looking at Nationwide's website in December 2007, the date that Craig and Tracy signed their policy documents. At the moment, there's nothing mentioned there about critical illness cover for children. Next, I travel forward a few months to the 2nd of March 2008, the month the insurance company says the policy's actually started, and my day suddenly gets a whole lot brighter. Children covered at no extra cost, in brackets, subject to terms and conditions, close brackets. Just what I wanted to see. On a scale of good days at work, today is top of the tree because I have got all the information I need to fight this case tooth and nail until I win it. Well, these big boys are looking a lot less scary because I can prove that in March 2008, when Craig's policy officially began, children were definitely covered. It's a fantastic result. Time to sock it to them. Since our last conversation, PR manager Alison has sent me an email reiterating that the reason Craig couldn't claim was because Nationwide Life never offered critical illness cover for children. Never? I don't think so somehow. Good morning to you. Is Alison there, please?
Yes, she is. Good morning, Alison Bowcott.
Right, let's clear up a few facts about Craig's policy. His policy, in effect, it started in March, and that means he gets the cover as of March.
Well, that's right. He would have got the cover March, but as I said, the policy didn't include children's critical illness.
Why didn't it include it in March?
Because Nationwide didn't offer children's critical illness.
Oh, really? I don't think that's right, Alison.
Right.
I'll tell you the reason why, because I've been through some Internet Archives, and I've got a couple of pages which I'll forward on to you.
Okay.
But I've got one here dated February 2008. I've got another one from March 2008. And it says here, cover for 35 specified critical illnesses, that's 1. Lump sum could be paid on diagnosis, 2. Number 3, children covered at no extra cost, and in brackets, subject to terms and conditions. And number 4, choose between reviewable or fixed premiums. Now that was February 2008 and March 2008. So Nationwide obviously did, and it was prior to his policy starting. Now that's probably thrown a spanner in your works, has it?
Well, not necessarily. I just wasn't aware that we offered it, that's all. So it'd be interesting to see if you can send that over.
Interesting indeed. If that is the case, and it was available as of sort of February, the month before his policy started, surely that means he's probably going to have cover on his policy, doesn't it? So I agree to send over all my research, and Alison's going to get back to me. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Very, very polite. I think she was a bit shocked at my discovery there. I don't think for a second she was trying to avoid anything. I just don't think she realised that Nationwide had included it. Now I know, in my mind, as they did, and I can prove they did, they're going to have to cough up and say, yep, do you know what? You've got us by the short and curlies, Dom. I'm feeling lucky on this one. But let's not jump the gun, because with a £15,000 payout at stake, Legal & General aren't going to go down without a fight. This case, though, has got me thinking about the importance of terms and conditions. Now, there's one lesson to be learnt here, is that the terms and conditions of an insurance policy can make or break a claim. If your terms and conditions have changed, how can you be sure you've been kept up to date? And what laws are on your side if you think your claim has been turned down unfairly? Well, one organisation people can turn to is the Financial Ombudsman Service, or FOS. They receive around 500 complaints a year about critical illness cover, a third of which are found in favour of the consumer. So I've come here to discuss terms and conditions, and in particular, critical illness cover. Do you think some people expect too much from critical illness cover, or kick?
I think you're probably right, Dom, that people do have high expectations because they've taken out a cover, they know at the back of their minds they've got it, they get ill and they think, great, it's going to cover me for everything. And it's not. Like any insurance policy, there are limits and things that are excluded from cover.
Are you getting common denominators with the complaints? Are there things that people tend to all be complaining about?
There are common features in the complaints that we see about critical illness. Quite often it's people finding out that perhaps they haven't disclosed an illness, where the insurer says, actually, you should have given us more information up front when we asked you a question. The other thing is sometimes people assuming that you're covered for everything in relation to a particular illness. Cancer, for example, quite often you will only be covered for more advanced cancers, not the very early stages.
As these covers evolve, T's and C's inevitably will change. People do get confused. Where do they stand?
If you're unsure in any way, speak to the company, make it absolutely clear you know what it is you've signed up for and what you're paying for, because otherwise it can be very disappointing when you think you've got cover in place and actually a vital bit that you might be relying on is actually missing in terms of the policy you've taken out.
So if T's and C's do change, by law, these companies have to write and tell you just so you are kept aware of them. I'm correct, aren't I?
Yeah, they should tell you. If there's any major changes to your policy, they should be sent out to you so you understand exactly what cover you've got in place.
And I know what you're going to say here, Emma. You're going to say people should be reading the T's and C's, the terms and conditions. How many people actually do that, in all honesty?
We probably all know that, yes, reading the terms and conditions is something that really is worth the time, but a lot of us put it to the bottom of our to-do lists. But policies do have to point out some of the key features and quickly summarise those, as well as some of the major exclusions. If you are thinking of spending money on a policy, it is worth understanding what it is you're taking out, because otherwise, if the worst happens, you might end up disappointed.
Those are very sound words indeed. Arming yourself with the facts is the best way to avoid getting done. In Scunthorpe, I've asked the marshals to gen up on critical illness cover for children. So Craig's come to meet his local financial advisor.
Take a seat, thank you. Most critical illness cover policies now for personal use automatically include free children's cover. What most of them will do is they'll pay out a percentage of what you're insured for with a maximum limit.
And for Craig, that means a lump sum payout of £15,000.
One insurance company brings it out, so other insurance companies will often come along and say, well, look, we'll match that, we'll do that as well, and follow suit. And that's what tends to happen. I think just about every insurance company now gives that as a free option.
Children are included for free up to the age of 18 and are covered against the same illnesses as their parents. But different companies cover different illnesses, so check out a range of policies and get some independent advice.
Most financial advisors prefer to have the questions, because if you start asking me questions, I know that you're understanding a bit of what we're telling you.
Here's a question for you. Does it make a difference if, like Craig and Tracy, you have two individual policies instead of a joint one?
If you had two policies, say you had a policy and your wife had a policy, a separate policy, they would pay out twice.
Did I hear that right? Because Craig and Tracy do have separate policies.
Say you had a policy and your wife had a policy, a separate policy, they would pay out twice.
Great. Things are looking better for the marshals. First, the discoveries I made on the Internet Archives regarding terms and conditions, and now this. Fantastic. If I can get Legal and General to pay out, the marshals could be getting a cheque for £30,000. That's double the money for Jack and double the pressure on me. Because unfortunately, I've had an email from Legal and General and they're digging their heels in. Legal and General are saying to me that Craig's policy was signed up in December and therefore he was subject to the terms and conditions, the T's and C's, at that time. And as we know, critical illness cover for children wasn't included at that time, but it was included when his policy actually started in March 2008. Time to get trading standards involved, I think. I've shown them some of Craig's paperwork, including the two policy summary documents, one dated December 07 and the other March 08. Let's cut to the chase. Which date matters the most?
The crucial date in this, of course, is March 08. At that point in time, both parties should expect to be bound by that contract and the terms and conditions of that contract. The December date of the previous year, when he signed, he wasn't covered then, the insurers knew he wasn't covered then, and I think it's irrelevant in interpreting the contract.
The bottom line is this: before March 2008, Craig was